It's that time of the year again, new beginnings, fresh starts, and resolutions that seem to offer us a chance to reset. We're stepping into 2025 with hope, but also uncertainty. As the year unfolds, we'll face moments that make us question our path. But what if trusting God's plan could be the key to embracing the unknown with confidence? As we look forward, let's ask ourselves, how do we trust God's plans in the new year, especially when life takes unexpected turns? So many of us enter each year with a list of goals and dreams. We want to accomplish so much, from career milestones to personal growth. But despite our best efforts, sometimes it feels like everything is working against us. Maybe you've already encountered challenges, doors that closed, relationships that changed, or situations that made you question why things are happening the way they are. The truth is, we can make all the plans in the world, but life often has a different agenda. The problem isn't that plans fail, but that we often place our trust in our own limited understanding rather than in God's perfect plan. Have you ever wondered why things don't always go the way you expect? It's a familiar feeling, setting out with great intentions only to face setbacks. But what if I told you that this moment of frustration, confusion, or disappointment could be an invitation to trust God even more deeply? Here's the big problem. The world teaches us that success is about control. We're told to hustle, plan, and follow a strict blueprint. But when things don't align with our own timelines or expectations, it's easy to lose heart and question God's role in all of this. We often feel like we're missing out on something better, or that we've somehow been left behind. This pressure to succeed, according to the world's standards, can make it hard to trust that God's plans for us are truly good, especially when we're not in control. But here's where things start to change. The shift from frustration to faith is a journey, one that challenges our beliefs and tests our trust in God. And here's the good news. Trusting God's plans is not about being passive or giving up on our goals. It's about aligning our vision with His, seeing the world and our lives through His eyes, rather than trying to force things into our own mold. So let's take a moment and reflect on our own journeys. How often do we find ourselves planning and pushing forward without taking a step back to ask, God, what is your plan for me in this situation? It's so easy to get caught up in our own ambitions, but true peace comes from surrendering our will to God's greater purpose. Maybe this year you set goals that seem daunting and you wonder if it's even possible to trust that God will lead you through them. You've faced disappointments and setbacks, and you feel like you're not where you thought you'd be by now. But God's timing is different from ours, and His plan is far greater than we can imagine. It's not about waiting for everything to fall into place according to our own timeline. It's about trusting that He knows what's best for us, even when we don't understand the journey. I know how it feels. I've been there, staring at the year ahead, feeling unsure of what it holds. There were times when I thought I had my life figured out, only for something unexpected to shake me to my core. But in those moments, I've learned that the more I let go and trust God, the more I see His hand at work in ways I never anticipated. Trusting God doesn't mean everything will go smoothly. In fact, some of the most difficult seasons of my life have been the ones where I had no idea what God was doing. But as I look back, I see how each twist and turn brought me closer to understanding His purpose for me. In those moments of uncertainty, they were opportunities for God to reveal His faithfulness in new ways. Maybe you've been through seasons of disappointment. Maybe you felt like you were walking in circles, or like you were stuck in a place of waiting. But I want to encourage you today, your story is not over. This year, God can do something powerful in your life if you trust Him with every step. Even when the way seems unclear, He's still guiding you, leading you into a future that is beyond your imagination. In those times when you feel like you're running out of hope, take a deep breath and remember this. Trusting God doesn't require us to have it all figured out. It requires us to let go of control and surrender our plans to Him. He knows what you need when you need it and how He will get you there. So what are the benefits of trusting God's plans in the new year? First, trust brings peace. When we release the pressure to control everything, we make room for God's peace to fill us. Instead of constantly worrying about the future, we can rest in the knowledge that He's already there preparing the way for us. Second, trusting God strengthens our faith. Each time we let go and choose to follow His lead, our trust in Him deepens. We begin to see His hand in the everyday moments of life. And over time, this trust transforms us, giving us a heart that is more attuned to His voice and more willing to obey His direction. Lastly, trusting God's plan leads to true fulfillment. The world tells us that success is found in achieving our personal goals, but God's success is found in fulfilling His purpose for our lives. When we align our desires with His will, we experience a deeper satisfaction and contentment, knowing that we're living out the life He designed for us. This new year, let go of the need to control every detail of your life. Instead, place your trust in God and watch as He works all things together for your good. You may not understand every twist and turn, but you can be sure that He is faithful to guide you every step of the way. If you want to experience the peace, faith, and fulfillment that come from trusting God, hit that like button, subscribe, and join me as we dive deeper into how to walk confidently in His plan for us in 2025. Trusting God might not always be easy, but I promise you, it's worth it. As we journey through the year, it's easy to become distracted by the world around us. The pressure to perform, achieve, and meet expectations can cloud our ability to trust that God has our best interests at heart. But what if, instead of striving to control everything, we chose to trust in God's perfect timing and plans? The truth is, trusting God is a choice we make every day. It's not a one-time decision, but a continual surrender. We must learn to rely on Him, even when the circumstances seem bleak. It's in these moments that our faith is tested. The big question is, will you trust God in the waiting, in the uncertainty, in the unknown? So how do we truly trust God's plan for the new year? The solution lies in a few simple but powerful actions. Surrender your will to God. The first step is to surrender your will. This doesn't mean abandoning your goals or dreams. It means letting go of the need to control everything. Ask God to lead you where He wants you to go. Trust that His plan is better than anything you could imagine. When we surrender, we open ourselves up to God's leading. We move away from relying on our own strength and start trusting in His. It's a daily commitment to let go of our own timelines and embrace the freedom of His will. Seek God's guidance through prayer. One of the best ways to stay connected to God's plan for our lives is through prayer. When we pray, we invite God into our lives and our decision-making. Prayer allows us to align our hearts with His, seeking His wisdom and direction in every aspect of our lives. As you face decisions this year, big and small, make it a habit to seek God's will first. Instead of rushing ahead with your own plans, take the time to pause, pray, and listen for His guidance. Trust that He will lead you in the right direction. Stay in His Word. The Bible is God's guidebook for life. It's through His Word that we can find strength, encouragement, and direction. This year, make a commitment to read and meditate on the Bible daily. The more you understand God's character and His promises, the more you'll trust His plan for your life. Scripture reminds us that God's plans are for our good. He promises to never leave us or forsake us. By immersing yourself in His Word, you'll find peace in knowing that His plan for your life is filled with hope and purpose. Embrace the journey, not just the destination. Trusting God's plan means learning to enjoy the process, not just waiting for the end result. We often get so focused on the destination that we forget the beauty of the journey. The lessons we learn, the people we meet, and the experiences we gain along the way all play a part in God's plan for us. This year, choose to embrace the journey. Instead of being fixated on your goals or timelines, allow yourself to be present in the moment. Trust that God is using each day, each step to shape you into who He created you to be. Trust His timing. One of the hardest parts of trusting God's plan is accepting His timing. We live in a world that demands instant results, but God works in seasons. His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own. If you're waiting on something, whether it's a job opportunity, a breakthrough, or a relationship, remember that God knows the right time. He's not slow in fulfilling His promises, but His timing is always perfect. Trust that He will bring things to fruition when the time is right. Remember God's faithfulness in the past. As you look ahead to 2025, take a moment to reflect on all the times God has been faithful in your life. Remember the times He provided for you, protected you, and guided you. When you reflect on His faithfulness in the past, you can trust that He will continue to be faithful in the future. Each time you face uncertainty or doubt, look back and remind yourself of God's track record. He's never failed you and He never will. This confidence in His past faithfulness will fuel your trust in His plans for the future. When we trust God's plan, we open ourselves up to a life of purpose, peace, and fulfillment. Trusting in Him doesn't mean everything will be perfect, but it does mean that we have the assurance that He is working all things together for our good. No matter what comes your way this year, you can trust that God is with you, guiding you, and preparing you for the future He has designed. So as we step into 2025, let go of the need to control everything. Trust that God has a good plan for your life and let Him lead you every step of the way. Embrace the journey with confidence, knowing that He is always faithful to fulfill His promises. If you want to trust God's plans more fully in the new year, take that first step of surrender, spend time in prayer in His Word, and ask Him to guide you through 2025. If this message resonated with you, please like this video, subscribe, and join me as we continue to explore how trusting God can transform our lives this year. Let's walk in faith together, knowing that His plans are always worth trusting. Thank you for being a part of this community, and may 2025 be a year filled with hope, peace, and the assurance that God's plan for you is perfect.